As we are all aware, this is the fourth and last session of the day. The topic is panel discussion on first-generation lawyers and access to justice, addressing institutional barriers in the Indian courts. Broadly and at a glance, we may figure out few challenges with the topic, and which are lack of mentorship and guidance, limited professional network, financial instability, courtroom confidence and exposure, difficulty in getting good chambers, social and cultural barriers, knowledge gap in practical skills, client trust issues, work-life imbalance, and stress. Thereafter, we go on to introduction of our panelists. Although our panelists require no introduction, but since this is a formal ritual, we have to follow it. You all know them, and their reputation precedes them. Honorable Mr. Justice Arvind Kumar, Judge, Supreme Court of India, who assumed office on 13th February 2023. He is a former Chief Justice of Gujarat High Court and former Judge of Karnataka High Court. Honorable Mr. Justice Prashant Kumar Mishra, Honorable Mr. Justice Prashant Kumar Mishra, Judge, Supreme Court of India. Before being elevated to Supreme Court, his lordship was the Chief Justice of Andhra Pradesh and Judge of Chhattisgarh High Court. Honorable Mr. Justice Harish Tandon, Honorable Mr. Justice Tandon is the 35th Chief Justice of Odisha High Court. Before taking oath as a Chief Justice, his lordship was the Judge of Calcutta High Court. Honorable Mr. Justice B.R. Gavai, former Chief Justice of India, being elevated to Supreme Court, was the Judge of Bombay High Court and also served as Chancellor of many NLUs. I would like to inform members of Supreme Court Bar Association that for the first time, thought of having committee to address the concern of first-generation lawyers, and we collected some data. More than 650 advocates said that they are the first generation and require some institutional support. Accordingly, SCBA organized 2 advocacy training programs for young first-generation lawyers. One was conducted by Ms. Priya Hingorani, senior advocate, and fortunately she is present here, and her team. And the other one was done by Bombay Bar Association. This SCBA is working towards providing necessary hand-holding for young and first-generation lawyers. Now I invite Mr. Vikas Singh, President, Supreme Court Bar Association, to kindly moderate the panel discussion. Thank you.
Welcome everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank Honorable Justice Gavai, Justice Arvind Kumar, Justice Prasad P.K. Mishra, and Justice Harish Tandon for participating in this session today. Now, in some ways, the earlier session also is linked to this session, because what we discussed in the session for women, we saw that there are 83% of women coming in this profession who are first-generation lawyers. But we could not have merged these two subjects because these subjects are very different, and there are a lot of men who also come as first-generation lawyers, and I am myself a first-generation lawyer. So we have on the panel mostly first-generation lawyer, except Justice Tandon, who is a third-generation lawyer. But I must inform all of you, and that's very, very important, that Justice Tandon, even though he's a third-generation lawyer, he was given the privilege as if he was a newcomer in the bar. And that is what I think is very, very important. I also, when both my boys wanted to join the profession, I never let them work with me. And I think that is the reason why both of them have independently established themselves. And that is the importance of being a first-generation lawyer. And there are, of course, huge struggles of a first-generation lawyer, because there is nobody in the family to guide them as far as the initial steps are concerned, and accordingly they have to depend on proper mentorship. And if they don't get proper mentorship, then they face many problems. So I'd like to start with Justice Gavai. Justice Gavai, how did you firstly decide to become a lawyer, and secondly, what were your initial steps that you took to establish yourself in the legal profession?
As I already said on many occasions that it was not my choice to be a lawyer, but it was my father's choice that I should be a lawyer. As a matter of fact, he wanted to be a lawyer, but he jumped into politics and social movement during his student days, and when he had to appear for law examination, he was in prison, and therefore I think he wanted his wish to be fulfilled through me. And I think I must thank him for that decision. Insofar as challenges are concerned, I see that many young generation lawyers, it's difficult for them to find a chamber. And particularly if they are coming from rural areas, if they don't have any standing, if they are not known to the established lawyers, it's difficult for them to initially find a chamber. And unless you find a chamber, because the chambers, they provide a platform for learning. Because nowadays the legal education has undergone a drastic change. But when we passed out from our law schools, it took around 6 months to understand that you have learned nothing in the law schools, and the learning starts after you start with the profession. So insofar as I am concerned, I did not face that challenge because my father was an established political leader, and when I started practice, he was in Mumbai as a Speaker of the Assembly. And I found a good chamber. I'm grateful to my senior who gave me many opportunities in the earlier days. And but I've seen many lawyers who used to come from the rural background, because I started initially in Mumbai. It was difficult for them to get good chambers. But all those who got good chambers, who were nurtured by their seniors, I'm happy to say that many of them became the High Court judges, many of them have been designated as a senior lawyer. So according to me, the first challenge for a first generation lawyer would be to get a good office. And unless you get a good office, you don't get a good mentorship. The second aspect I would also like to address on is that after 5 years of practice at Mumbai, I shifted to Nagpur. And Mr. Manohar was the then Advocate General. And he insisted that I should join the Government Pleader's Office as an AGP. And since he was my father's good friend, I had no choice. But within 1 year, I got such a wide experience in the Government Pleader's Office. Because as a young lawyer, you may not come across many such litigations which we get an opportunity to handle in the Government Pleader's Office. So I continued there only for 1 year, and after that I resigned. But I could argue many important matters before the stalwarts, against the stalwarts at that time, including viruses of various legislations, viruses of the regulations for medical admissions, engineering admissions. During those days, the litigation was at the peak. And I therefore feel that if the first generation lawyers get an opportunity, even in the Government Pleader's Office, or as was said by the Honorable Chief Justice with regard to women lawyers, as a legal aid councils, that will be a good boost for them. They will get a good platform for learning so that they can progress further. I'm really grateful to the Supreme Court Bar Association and Mr. Vikas Singh for organizing this conference and taking up this issue. When I was in Bombay High Court with the Bar Council of Maharashtra and Goa, we have attempted to do in this regard. We used to have continuous legal education program for young lawyers, and periodical trainings used to be held. Sometimes the trainings ranging over for a week or so also. So with the initiative of the Supreme Court Bar Association, I think we can plan something on the same lines on a pan-India basis. Thank you very much, Vikasji.
So it's a very interesting moment in the history of the Supreme Court that we have two successive Chief Justices who are first generation lawyers. In fact, Justice Suryakant also is a first generation lawyer, and actually when I first discussed this when Justice Gawai was still the Chief Justice of India, that I want to do something for first generation lawyers. He was also sitting with me. He said, no, Vikasji, I'll also be in that program. And he would have been there and if he had not to go suddenly for this other program, which was requested by Justice Nagaratna, and he was ultimately, he had to. And both of them are from agricultural background. But one point which Justice Gawai made is that he got a very good mentor's office, very good senior's office. Now, getting a good senior's office is actually almost half the work being done. If you get a good senior's office, then really speaking, there is no looking back. But how many first generation lawyers are able to get a good senior's office or a good mentor to start with? I would like to ask Justice Arvind Kumar that how would a young first generation lawyer who's unable to find a good senior's office, how does he go about in this profession? Because that's the bigger challenge we are facing today in the system.
A very good evening to one and all. Respected Honorable former Chief Justice, Justice Gawai, my esteemed brother, Justice Mishraji, Justice Tandon, Mr. Vikas Singh, and Mr. Vikrant Yadav, learned senior advocate, learned attorney general, all stalwarts are here. I would like to just preface it with two instances. Number one, the moment I go to any bar association or any bar function, the first question they ask is, learned members of the bar, sir, how do you feel being a judge and after being an advocate for 20 years? And how do you feel when you come to the bar association? I tell them, I give you a small example. A young girl who gets married and goes to her husband's house, after 2 or 3 months, if she comes back to her parental home, what the amount of feeling of that oneness, that feeling I get it. Number one. Number two, how I became a lawyer. Friends, I am not flattering myself, I am not blowing my trumpet, I am telling you the honest, candid confession in this august gathering in the presence of our, I consider him as my, not only my senior, as my good God-given friend, Justice Gawai Sahab. One day I refused to go to school. I think I was somewhere in 4th standard. My mother told my father that he is refusing to go to school. My father came with a scale. Will you go or not? I said, no, I will not go. He said, why? My socks is not ironed. This is the reason I gave. Why I tell you? Then he said, all right, I will iron your socks, and he gave it. He said, no, I am not going because today driver is not there, I am not going, car is not there. He said, nothing doing, you go by walking. Hardly it was about 200 meters or 300 meters. Why I am telling you is, after having brought up in such an environment, I was born in Bangalore, brought up in Bangalore, studied in convent, good educational institutions. Everything was, God was very kind to me. And my father was hell-bent upon that I should become a lawyer. I said, I will become anything, but not a lawyer. So every day, the fight used to start in the morning breakfast table and end at the dining table in the night. So every day my mother used to complain, why father and son should fight? Both of you don't sit together. This was her grievance. But invariably we used to have dinner and breakfast together. So one day I told my father, I will not become, from tomorrow onwards, if you force me, I will not come and have dinner with you. He said, all right. I told him, all right, give me one good reason why I should become a lawyer. He said, wait. He was halfway through. He went, washed his hands, brought his old diary, which was a rubber band. And he opened it and he said, look here. The entire freedom movement of this country was done by the lawyer fraternity. Look here, the first parliament had nearly about 70 members of the parliament members were lawyers. Karnataka first assembly, the assembly members were 60%, more than 60% of them lawyers. If anything good can be done to the society, to the country, it is only the lawyers can do it, and I want you to become a lawyer. And this is how I became a lawyer. And he was my father, he was very clever. So I had told him, he said, you become lawyer for one day, then you don't practice. So first day when he put up the board, Arvind Kumar, advocate, my father and mother both came. My mother put kumkum to that board, and we stood in front of the camera. My photographer flicked it, and he said, from tomorrow, do whatever you want. But he was my father. He was very clever. So he said, all right, do one thing. Just go to the profession. Practice for 1 week or 1 month or 2 months. If you don't find interesting, do whatever you want. Then whom should we choose? So none of from my father's side, my mother's side, no judges, no lawyers, none. So ultimately my father said he had a good friend, family friend. His name was Justice Rama Joyce. So he said, come, he is the only person with judiciary whom I know. I will take you to him. At that time he was a high court judge. So he took me to his house and he introduced and he said, look here, I want you to become, I made him a lawyer, so I want him to join a good office. Why don't you suggest? He said his nephew is there, Justice Mr. Subramania Joyce. But he said he's practicing on the High Court, so don't practice on the High Court. First and foremost for a lawyer is Section 26, Order 7, Rule 1 or 317 of CRPC. Go to the trial court. Work for 5 years. Then you will become a good lawyer. Then they took me to my senior, Mr. S. Nanjun Swami, who is no more. I should remember him with reverence. Whatever I am today, it is because of him. The most interesting point will come now. When I asked, sir, when should I come? He said, another 1 week the court will reopen. It will be on 25th May 1987. So he said, you join from that day. Then I asked my father how much he is going to pay me. Then my father just smiled and said, keep quiet, don't talk. So then he asked my seniors, what is that? He is asking some doubt. No, just forget. No, you are telling about emoluments. I know, sir, you will take care. Immediately my senior said, no, now that you have come to learn from me, you should pay me. Of course, it was on a lighter point. And this is how I entered the profession. And after entering the profession, no question of turning back. And he said, look here, Arvind, first and foremost, first day he took me to the association. There is a cooperative society. It is still there. He bought me one dairy. He bought me one book. He bought me one gown and one band. He said, today is your first day in the profession. This is my gift. Keep it up. May God bless you. And God has been very kind to me. And this is how my journey started. Later on, I will add little more after my co-panelists speak. Thank you.
So that's also a very inspiring life story. Only the small difference that I have with you, sir, that I straight away started in Supreme Court. And I may not be a good example. I don't think that everybody should teach these youngsters to start straight away.
That is why you have become the Bar Association president.
But starting in Supreme Court had its own challenges, and that is what I remember. I thought I'll share. So getting every day Supreme Court, you get new subjects to argue and new subjects to deal with. And even judges of Supreme Court have this problem. They also many a times have not dealt with a particular subject and they end up dealing with that subject in Supreme Court. So practicing in Supreme Court is like doing a master's on a new subject overnight daily. You get a new subject, you can't, even if you're not well conversant with this, you still have to, because it's the last court and you can't take any chance, so you have to do that kind of preparation. I remember when the first time I had to do a cross-examination, because I'd never done cross-examination in my life, so I read a book on cross-examination. I just tried to find out that what is the art of cross-examination before I actually start doing a cross-examination. So that's, of course, a different cup of tea. But one answer which I'm still groping with is, I'll then put it to Justice Mishra. How if you don't get a good mentor, what are the steps to be taken? Because there are so many young children coming into the profession, so many of them. All of them don't end up getting a good, if you don't get a good mentor, what other steps you can do? Because if you get a good, I also got a very good mentor, Mr. L.R. Singh. I worked with him, and he gave me some very fundamental, basic values in the profession, and which helps me even today. But this is difficult in today's times. In today's times, the children, the first generation children which are coming into the profession are so many. The volume is so large. If 83% of women are first generation, you can imagine boys would be definitely more than that. So how do they, what is their struggle, if you can help the audience, because that is something which is...
Honorable Gawai Sahab, the former Chief Justice of India, esteemed brother Justice Arvind, brother Justice Harish Tandon, Vikas Singh ji, and Vikrant ji. First come first. Your question. You see, my take is that if you do not have a good mentor at the beginning, that is the best thing which happens to a young first generation lawyer. If you do not have a good mentor, then you strive hard, you work hard, and you see, then you start comparing your mentor with other successful lawyers who are good individuals. And then you strive to do well. And believe me, I have seen first generation lawyers whose seniors and mentors are not, punctual or sincere in their office, and that is the best time to encash and grab the opportunity and show your skill and talent. You see, whenever a young lawyer gets a brief and his senior is not interested on that particular day, it is not that senior would not be interested in the file, otherwise he would not have been a successful senior. On that particular day, something may happen and the senior is not interested in doing that file on that day. And that is the day for the junior to perform. And I tell you, I myself started, now deviating from that question, I wanted to become a doctor. I failed by 4 marks in the medical entrance test. And I landed in my profession. We have 3 brothers. The eldest one is a doctor. The second one was an engineer. So my father wanted, like brother Arvind, my father wanted me to become a doctor, but as the destiny would have been, I landed in this profession. And at that time, I joined the law college, which used to be happening in the evening classes for 1 hour or 1.5 hours. From 7 to 8:30 or 6:30 to 8 was the time. And my father was a good civil lawyer. He told me, day one, I have told this story in Supreme Court Bar Association felicitation function also. On day one, I was given some few khasra, khatoni and that revenue papers. Some new client had come. My father told me to go and trace the title. history and genealogy of this person in the revenue record, how this paper has come to him. And I was, that client paid me 10 rupees. That was on 4th or 5th of September, 1987. So that is how the journey begins. And I practiced for 2 years in that small district court. And one fine morning, I started with an iron trunk in the Utkal Express from that Raigad to Katni and then Katni to Bilaspur, Katni to Jabalpur, and stayed in a hotel for 4 days. I was going to High Court from a hotel. In one hotel I was staying for 4 or 5 days. I didn't have any house, any room to stay. I stayed in a hotel for 4 or 5 days and searched for some house on rent. And 4 days I went to the High Court. And my mentor was Justice P.P. Navlekar. He was my senior. And believe me, though I was son of a lawyer, I may not be fitting in this scheme of the conference deliberations about first generation lawyers. But in the High Court, I was almost a first generation lawyer. And he will never spare me. Justice Navlekar would never spare me if I committed any wrong at any point of time. One day, why I say that there may be not one turning point in your life, there may be 2, 3 events in succession or in regular intervals which shape your life. One day, Justice Mr. Navlekar, as he then was, he entrusted me 2, 3 briefs in the court of Justice B.M. Lal. Brother Kosi would know it. B.M. Lal's court. His court would start at around, say, 11, and by 11:30 it is over. So then he asked me to seek adjournment in 2, 3 matters. And all 3 matters were dismissed for want of prosecution. Your senior is not here, you are not arguing, the matter is dismissed. And that day, Justice Navlekar thrashed me like anything. And he told me that if you are not able to open your mouth, if you are not able to speak in the court properly, then go back to your native place. Don't so. So these are the events which provoke you, compel you, force you, or coerce you to do something in your life which will change the history for yourself. So for all first generation lawyers, I am telling you that life is always difficult. Whether it is a second generation lawyer, a lawyer born with golden spoon, or a first generation lawyer, life is always difficult at the beginning. And those who are born with golden spoon, those who are fed with files, briefs, and clients at the beginning, will always be at the receiving end, because they don't understand the importance of struggle in life. And one who doesn't understand the struggle in life will be a loser in life. You don't understand the importance of hard work, the importance of toiling, the importance of burning midnight oil. And these events must happen in everybody's life. Otherwise, you will not excel. You will never dream of excelling. If the dream for which a young lawyer eyes for and aims at is that his lap from the very beginning, where are the dreams? There are no dreams for him. And unless there are dreams, you will not strive. to attain those goals in your life. So I always think that though there are difficulties, access to justice, access to client, access to file, access to mentor, and then access to an audience in the court, and access to relief in the court. Those are all access which are meant for young lawyers to achieve. I'm telling you, though I was, again I will go back to my old days. Humility, consistency, endurance, why all these are very important things in life for young lawyers, first generation lawyers is, in 1987-88, when I went to High Court, there were lawyers and the regular clients of my father who used to send me money order of rupees 100 or 150 to file cases in the Supreme Court. And as a young lawyer, you have to bear with those amounts. Because that 100 or 150 or 300 rupees, they are not money. With that but small amount comes the opportunity to argue the matter in court. Your appearance in court in your initial days are more important than money. For first 2, 3, 5 years, money is not the thing, but your face in the court, the familiarity which, recognition which you will get in the court when you appear regularly pays you in the long run. And seniors always used to say that don't run after money, money will run after you when you become a successful lawyer, like Mr. Vikas Singh. So, thank you, Supreme Court Bar Association, for giving me this opportunity to speak it out. And I'd say in my court, juniors must be finding that I give maximum audience to a young lawyer than a senior lawyer. Thank you so much.
So this is something which I've always been telling as president of the bar and even otherwise to youngsters, that even if you go in court for a passover, be so thorough with the file that if the judge asks you a question, you should be ready to argue. And I've seen that these are, as Justice Mishra very rightly pointed out, these are these opportunities which will make you get noticed and which will actually take you in this journey upward in this profession. And I've always seen, and just as Justice Mishra said, and I've seen Justice Gawai also in court, Justice Arvind Kumar, when a young lawyer, or Justice Tandon, when a young lawyer is arguing something, especially when his senior is not there, invariably they don't pass any adverse orders. They try to accommodate the young lawyer, try to give him that opportunity. If he's not able to answer a particular question to the satisfaction, they normally give a date instead of passing an adverse order. So that's the greatest opportunity that you get in litigation, when you are holding a brief, even if it is not meant to argue, to be ready to argue when the time comes for arbitration. Now I'll just turn to Justice Tandon. Now he's a third generation lawyer. And when I was doing this survey on who are these first generation lawyers in Supreme Court, lot of lawyers who had parents in the legal profession also said that I am also in a sense first generation lawyer. I said, how? He said, my father is in some civil court in some state, and I have moved to Supreme Court without any backing. There is no mentor here, no godfather here. So if I am struggling in Supreme Court where there is nobody to guide me, then for all practical purposes, I am a first generation lawyer. Now, I would like to get the comment of Justice Tandon of two things. Firstly, that of course, because he himself has literally worked as a first generation lawyer, because he was asked to do everything on his own. But what would you also advise young lawyers of today when they're coming to the profession, that what should be the first baby steps they should take as far as establishing themselves?
Thank you for giving this opportunity. I think the distinguished senior judges, they have already shared their experience of life, of professional life, obviously, and what they have initially passed through. I think everybody who is here in this podium, I think everybody will share that they have at least encountered the same thing in their life at least once or twice. So these are such a things which everybody has passed through and have embraced. But there are another things which I can say apart from the same. As Mr. Vikas Singh has said, that being a third generation lawyer and being a first generation in a court, how you feel a difference. The feeling initially was very humiliating. Humiliating in the sense that when I passed the law examination and wanted to start the practice, I just thought of that I have got a mentor, I have got a big umbrella over my head. I did not have to think about any other things. I have all the resources, I have all the infrastructures, I have all the journals, the books which are required to excel in these professions. But my father was more wiser than, he treated me like a fool. That what you have thought of, that you will start your career under me, that is not your, I would say, cup of tea. On the very first day when I went in his chamber, obviously it was there. So he just noticed me, did not utter a single word. He did not interacted with me. He was doing his work, even not noticing that I am there. That happened for 2-3 days. So I was just thinking that what to do. He is not really paying any attention on me, and I have joined, and he knows that I have joined the profession. So as it happens that some juniors, they come and then say, if I am engaged as a junior in the matter, I think my father will be acting as a senior, so he will pay more attention to a case. So if he engages him, so that will be the best. So his case will be taken care of in a more better manner. That was the day, as I'd say, is a turning point of the life. So I went in a most professional manner and said that, sir, I have got a client. I wanted a time for a consultation or a briefing. Give me a time, like a juniors. So he gave me that you come on Wednesday at 4, I'd say around 7 o'clock in the evening, the father. Then I said, okay. Then I went there, sat. Then he says, yes, what is the matter? I just narrated the fact. Then he asked me what to do. A lawyer who has just joined 7 days before, everybody will share that what was the understanding of law, and that too also happened to me. So I say, I think this can be done. Then he just looked at the client and says, if such a junior is handling your case, you are sure to lose and nobody can save you, who does not know even the very basic principles of law. That was the humiliation. Immediately I came out of the chamber. First thing, no objection on the Wakalatnama signed by me. And then I went to another friend of my father and say that I want to start the profession. Then he says, okay, I will take you to another senior. That I was taken there, and he never disclosed the identity that who I am. He simply engaged. He's a young boy. He's coming. He want to learn. Wanted to join your chamber. Please take him. And that is how I joined the senior, who was a great mentor. So what I feel is I was a bit lucky in that regard that I could get the good mentor by an assistance by a support of any other persons who is known to me. For a first generation lawyer, which I have seen is that the first thing is the chamber gatekeeping is the important, that's the obstacle and the hurdle which every young first generation lawyer faces. Access to a particular chamber is not a very easy task. And taking any young boy, simply looking at him by a senior is also not possible. How to get it? This is where some system has to be evolved, which I believe. There should be an involvement of the Bar Council of India. There should be a program. There should be some kind of a structured program. They should come out of it, where at least all the seniors, they should be, I think, wholeheartedly participating therein and choosing some good young talents so that they can get an access and the barriers which is already there may not be there. The second thing is there should be, as the Honorable Chief Justice and Justice Gawai, the former Chief Justice of India, also corroborated, that they should also be included into the government panel or as a legal aid lawyers panel. But what I feel is that giving independent charge from the day one will not really help them to excel in the professions. They should also be attached with the senior who is also doing a pro bono job, so that at least both of them, if they appear in a particular matter, they will also get a lot of learning experiences by working with at least a seasoned lawyer who has already spent 10 or 15 years of time in this. So that is what I also feel for a first generation lawyers, the first hurdle is. The second hurdle is the recognition. I must say that every lawyer faces this recognition from the bench. Whenever any lawyer who has a practice of, say, 5 years, 10 years, I think sometimes he is addressed by his surname by the bench. But sometimes the junior, because the bench, the judge may not know him, is not been addressed in that sense. So that is also some kind of a resentment that comes in everybody's heart or a mind of a first generation lawyer. I think that comes by passage of time. It is not that the judge knows him. It is what the judge has sees his performance and he has shown some kind of the contribution to the legal professions, and that's the recognition which is reciprocated by the bench to that. So for that, you never lose your heart. Remain there. Ms. Aishwarya Bhati, the learned ASG, was saying about a 3H. I could remember two. There's the first is a hard work and the second is a humility. I think I have three other notions. Honesty. That's the three honesty. So I can have three different facets. A lawyer must be passionate about his profession. Unless he has a passion, he can never gain any height or any success in the profession. The second one is the dedication. He must be dedicated to his the work. He must do all efforts which he can to particular case. And unless he shows his dedication to them same, I think that will not. And the third one is the inquisitiveness. The two words I always carry with me, that where and why, the two W's. If senior says it happens like this, then the first question is, where do I find this? First you go and find it, and then you ponder upon why it is so, why not like this. So that's the greatest advantage of the first generation lawyer, that their mind is still very fresh, and they have very, very innovative ideas which is really circling around their mind, and sometimes that shapes the new law and the new theory and the new principles that would come. So that is why I also feel that that's the greatest advantage of the new generation lawyers as well. The second story, I must say that what is a disadvantage? The disadvantage I feel is similar, but in a different form or a variety. As a first generation lawyer, nobody recognizes you. Nobody tell you anything. You are just roaming around the corridors of the court, roaming around from the one chamber to another, one court to another to see it. But the second, the major hurdle with the second or third generation lawyers they faces is a humiliation again, or trolling by some of the persons, which I faced when I was hardly having 1 month of practice. I was just walking on the corridor. There was one gentleman who just stabbed me and say, brother, are you a grandson of such and such or a son of such and such? I said, yes. Oh, I have seen your grandfather. I have seen your father. You are not like him. So I say, sir, if you pardon my impertinence, if I say something to you, they say, yes, yes. Then I say, you have seen my grandfather when he has already 50 years of practice. You have seen my father when he has already 25 years of practice. Sir, I am in practice only 1 month. Do I not require 25 months to be compared about? That comparison cannot be done like this. So this is also sometimes the trolling, the humiliation that really face the lawyers. And the second thing which always grappled in the mind is that do I become or justify what my grandfather or a father has achieved in their professional career? This is what is also carried throughout to become. I always think it was a first generation, as Vikas Singh ji said. Definitely I considered myself as a first generation lawyer, and I was treated by my senior like the first generation lawyer and never. And the second thing which is very important is that you will get only 1 or 2 opportunities in your life, which I can share that there was one matter which was given. I had 2 seniors above me. So I was a bit complacent that when there are 2 seniors, they will be arguing, I will be sitting and getting some money in the form of a fees and going home. But as is usually done, I just went through the files. And then I just read it, but not so carefully so that I have to argue. And that was a special bench where both the seniors, they were engaged in another course. And the bench was sitting only for that matter. Then the bench said, you start. And that was a day I get an opportunity to start. And then I started telling the facts. And I still remember that I have to spend time and how to keep the court busy. So there was a case regarding the interpretation of a lease deed. The intention has to be found out. Then I started with one line that in order to interpret any document, and the intention is to be gathered from there, it is better to read the document as a whole and then to find out the intention. And I started this deed of lease executed on such and such date and goes on, just to keep the bench pending. So that was the way I started. And that's an opportunity which I got. And rest is the destiny. I can't say anything about it. So my congratulations to all first generation lawyer. Do not lose heart. Be there in the profession with commitment, dedication, remain passionate. I think the success will follow you. You need not have to follow the success. That's it.
So 2 very, very important things coming out of Justice Tandon's life story. One is that there is no shortcut in this profession. You have to work the hard way. And second is, of course, the strength of character that his father showed in rebuking his son when he got a brief and he said that, no, if you continue with this lawyer, you're bound to lose. So that actually, if I may say, was the turning point in his life, because if he had not been rebuked that way, he would have taken similar briefs of future and would have never grown in the profession independently. So I think we must salute his father also today. For I don't think very many fathers can take such a bold stand with regard to their son when the son is appearing and coming with their first brief to brief their father. Now we are fortunate here today to have the learned Attorney General for India. He also would like to speak on this subject. I am not very sure whether he is a first generation lawyer or he is. Okay, great. So okay. So I didn't know that, but we are so grateful that he is here today, and he also wants to speak. It will be great for this discussion today if you can. You can come here, yes.
Many mentors have entered my life, and there are of different ways. Not necessarily a senior who joins and who grooms you. In the second year of my college in Government Law College, Pondicherry, we had part-time teachers. One of them was a public prosecutor in Pondicherry. So when I was completing my second year, he called me one day and said, after you complete your graduation, come and join my chamber. But that was a great invitation. A student being asked by a public prosecutor to come and join his chamber. I never knew him, nor he knew my family. My father was a textile engineer. None of my, neither my maternal side or paternal side were ever lawyers, anything near to law, closer to law. I joined his chamber, and one day he was not available for a cross-examination of an investigation officer. So a senior sub-judge who was doing criminal cases, I was asked to go and cross-examine the investigation officer. In trial courts, you will find when the police officers come, they have to remove their hat out of deference to the court. The gentleman did not do that. The judge got very wild. He got annoyed. And he asked me, what are you going to do today? He said, so-and-so is not available. Probably I would like to do the cross-examination. I tried my best, getting ready within half an hour of my senior not being there. As we were trying to proceed with the cross-examination, the senior subject said, stop. And he said, where did you study? Who gave you a law degree? I don't know what kind of law degrees people like you get. I was so stunned by that. I was really stunned by that. Something like a humiliation. A humiliation. It went so deep into my mind. I went back to my senior chamber, who came a little later, and I said, this is what happened in the court. My senior regarded me as one of the brightest in his chamber. So he went and told the principal district judge, this is what happened to one of my treasured junior. I think people in the bar who are first generation lawyers, if they receive this kind of a humiliation, how will they receive progress? The principal district judge called me and said, don't worry, young boy, I'll talk to the senior subject and try to tell him what probably went wrong with you in the court. The story ended there. So when I came back to practice in Supreme Court in 1979, I came here not because I wanted to come to Supreme Court. The least, Supreme Court is a faraway place from somebody who was born in Pondicherry, studied in Pondicherry, knew nothing about Supreme Court, not even about the High Court. Professor Madhav Menon, my teacher, who came to become principal in Government Law College, Pondicherry, took interest in me when my father passed away. And when I was wondering whether to shift from Pondicherry to Madras, looking for many opportunities, one senior lawyer told me, yes, you can come and join my chamber, but I will not pay you anything. And another senior lawyer said, you can join my chamber, but I'll pay you 150 rupees a month. If you want, you can come and join. This is the year 1978. I said, 150 rupees is a big money. I said, I'll come and join the chamber. Well, all this is happening. Professor Madhav Menon came all the way from Delhi to Madras and to Pondicherry and said, you are not having any such thoughts. You are going to practice in Supreme Court. I made all the arrangements for you to go and practice in Supreme Court. Which principal, which teacher will take such an interest in a student? I pay my greatest respect to Professor Menon even today, and wherever I go, in law schools and no law school, public platforms, I say, what a wonderful teacher can do to a humble student. That's how I came to Supreme Court. I joined Mr. P.P. Rao's chamber. 3 years later, after I came to Supreme Court, I had to go back to Pondicherry on some occasion. I visited the Government Law College. The same senior sub-judge had now a retirement and become the principal of the law college. I sent my visiting card to go and see him. He came out of his chamber to receive me and said, I'm so glad that you got to Supreme Court to practice. Somebody from Pondicherry, the one who scolded me saying, who gave you a law degree, received me with all the respect I received. It's the kind of, you're talking about humiliation, no? How things turn in your life. So I landed with a small suitcase and in Supreme Court. Look at the greatness of a teacher. He gives you encouragement. Professor Manon has a Labrador scooter. He was teaching in Delhi University those days. He comes all the way with the scooter, picks me up, and takes me to Mr. P.P. Rao, introduces me to Mr. P.P. Rao, and said he's so-and-so, so-and-so. I mean, wonderful. So therefore, you're talking of mentors. Mentors can come in different forms. Wait, just keep on your door open, 24 hours a day. Mentors will come and walk in and tell you where I'm going to lead you. Just be alive to mentors walking in. That's the only lesson I'll give to first generation. So thereafter, it's a different story. It's a very, very long story. I don't think I would like to share it today. Maybe one day I write my little memoirs of my life in Supreme Court, how it transformed my entire life and things like that. I will remember many of you, most particularly the mentorship which a teacher can give you. The mentorship which a teacher can give you, he is the first mentor. If you remember the first mentor, I think many mentors will follow. They'll stand in queue and follow you. Await mentors one after another. I tell you, don't because you are a first generation lawyer, don't think you will have nobody to help you. In some form or the other, in some way or the other, in some way or the other, you will find mentors waiting to receive you. Every one of you would have the same experience. Thank you so much.
So I'll just take one closing comment from each of the. My just last closing comment is that what I would like to say, and I say this whenever I go to these law colleges also, that consider the pain of your client as your own pain. That is the first lesson of your coming as a lawyer. As everybody in the panel said, that you have to actually have that empathy of understanding the pain of your client and then giving it a legal shape for which you require the legal knowledge. And lastly, initially in litigation, there is no money, as everybody knows, or very little money to sustain. But if you make a mark, you will be noticed and you will be definitely in this profession without any godfather also. You can definitely rise. So that's something which I think is very, very important for every youngster to know today. Just one closing comment.
Thank you very much. With the 3 H stated by Aishwaryaji and 2 Ws stated by Harish Tandonji, I would like to just add 5 I's which are essential for a successful lawyer. Industry, integrity, intellect, initiative, and good interpersonal skill, because at times as a lawyer you must know what is in the mind of a judge. So even if a judge is wrong, you have to say that your lordships are correct, but so how to deal with the judge? So now, after 24th of November, I am free to speak many things which I could not have spoken earlier. But I can tell you that with hard work, dedication, nothing is impossible. I have come from a humble background, starting by schooling in a municipal school in a semi-skilled area. I know that it's we are too late, but I will just give you one example, which will be an encouragement for many, many first-generation lawyers coming from a humble background. Mr. Bhausaheb Bobde was the Advocate General, and they have a very big, the M.R. Bobde, a legend in Nagpur, about whom Justice Hidayatullah has written in my own Boswell that he was one of the greatest lawyers. So they had a big property, and they always had to engage a mason to keep the property in good state. So one young boy who was assisting a mason was noticed by Mr. Pausab Bobde, and he found a spark in him. So he said that you, while working, complete your education. So he made him pass matriculation. After that, he made him pass 12th. And after passing 12th, he was working as his driver, come clerk in the office. And then after passing law, after completing couple of years as a lawyer, he appeared for the examination of a district director, district judge. He cleared that examination, and with the God's grace, about 5 to 6 years back, he was elevated as the judge of the Bombay High Court, and now he is working as a judge of the Bombay High Court. So if you work hard, if you are sincere, if you are dedicated, your dreams can come true. Dream high, and those dreams will come true. Thank you very much.
Mr. Vikas Singh ji, now I am coming after you. In the sense, you have done so much, shown so much of concern for the bar. So I would really appreciate if you say that for first 3 years, for a young member of the bar, you are not going to charge the subscription fee. That would be the best one. Having said so, you may pose me a question, said then now who is going to make up the deficit? The Attorney General is here, so at least the government, I was told you are not getting any grant from the government. Normally the bar associations, the grant is given by the respective state governments. Many states, that is what I know. And I think the Attorney General would be gracious to persuade the government to give some nominal grant of 50 or 100 crores to the Supreme Court Bar Association. Third and the last aspect is, sir, I want what you know as institutional responsibility, that is through the seniors. Every senior, my humble request and appeal to every senior is, please identify 2 persons in a year, not more than 2 persons. Take them under your wraps, take them under your tutelage, who come from rural background, poor background, financially poor, who are first generation lawyers. Try to take them under your tutelage and nurture them. Tomorrow they may become even a Supreme Court judge also. They will remember you for life. So this initiative should be taken by the Bar Association through the learned senior advocates. This is my humble request.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I don't regret from my coming here today for this conference. But I just want to share, since you mentioned about picking up 2 people, a couple of years ago when the Bar Council of Tamil Nadu called me for a felicitation function, in the felicitation function I told the Bar Council that I would like to identify 5 female graduates who are graduating that day, who come from the most backward sections of the community. I have picked up 5 people. Each one of them are the most backward persons. Somebody's father was a coolie, somebody's mother was a home worker, so on and so forth. I have given them 2 lakhs for their commencing their practice. I wish that if you're able to adopt people like that, each and every one of us here, that will be a great contribution to our generation.
While the panel discussion was going on, Honorable Mr. Justice Arvind Kumar was asking me about the rules, regulation, amount of subscription we charge from junior advocates, and I was wondering why he's asking. He has a long way to go to retire and come back in our bar, but this was the point, I didn't realize it. We are thankful, Malad. So we can conclude, if I put my own opinion, we can conclude by saying that the first generation lawyers succeed through persistence, continuous learning, networking, and resilience. Gradually, with time, they often become highly independent, dynamic, and adaptable professionals But at the same time, the second generation lawyer may have a great leap forward initially, but in longer run in our profession, keeps testing everyone. So everyone has to prove their mettle after a point of time. So we conclude with this, and now we proceed with the felicitation of our guest. Just one thing I wanted to point out, Mr. Tushar Mehta, Learned Solicitor General, was supposed to be on this panel, but unfortunately he had some personal issue in the family, so he stayed back. He didn't able to attend it. He has sent a regret for that. And he is also a first generation lawyer. In fact, he opted for this particular panel. So now we can proceed with the felicitation. I request Mr. Ashish Kumar Sinha, Member Executive, to kindly felicitate Honorable Mr. Justice Arvind Kumar. Mr. Upendra Mishra is here. I request Mr. Manish Mohan to kindly come forward and felicitate Honorable Mr. Justice Prashant Kumar Mishra. I कर रहा हूँ मैं I request Mr. Rohit Vats to kindly felicitate Honorable Mr. Justice B.R. Gavai. I now request Ms. Rachna Gandhi to felicitate Honorable Mr. Justice Prasanna Varale. I request Honorable Mr. Justice Prasanna Varale to kindly come on the dais. Oh, yes, yes.
Thank you very much, Vikas Singh ji, and I thank Honorable Justice B.R. Gavai sir, who is a guide, philosopher, and for me is an elder brother. Brother Justice Arvind Kumar ji, Brother Justice Prashant Kumar ji, all the esteemed members of the bar, the dignitaries, the learned Attorney General ji. Thank you. And Pragya ji ने भी पहले कहा था कि सर आप अगर 4 पंक्तियाँ सुना दे तो एक तो आपका जो पहला सेशन था और ये सेशन दुष्यंत कुमार जी की है। बहुत हो गई पीर, अब हिमालय से कोई गंगा निकलनी चाहिए। हंगामा खड़ा करना मेरा मकसद नहीं है, मेरी कोशिश है कि सूरत बदलनी चाहिए ना हो मेरे सीने में नसी तेरे सीने में सही हो, कहीं भी आग मगर जलनी चाहिए, आग मगर जलनी चाहिए। थैंक यू।
I now request Mr. Mukesh Kumar Singh, Member Executive, to kindly felicitate Honorable Mr. Justice Harish Tandon, Chief Justice of Odisha High Court. I request Honorable Mr. Justice P. Sam Koshi to kindly come on the stage, please. Judge, High Court of Telangana. I also request Honorable Mr. Justice Sibu Shankar Mishra, Judge, High Court of Odisha, to kindly come on the dais. I request Ms. Samta Mishra, Member Executive Supreme Court Bar Association, to kindly felicitate Honorable Mr. Justice P. Sam Ghoshi, Judge, High Court of Telangana. I now request Ms. Smriti Kumari to kindly facilitate Honorable Mr. Justice Sibu Shankar Mishra, Judge, High Court of Odisha.
विक्रांत भाई
With this, I request our committee of executive committee to kindly come on the stage, and we can have a group photograph with the honorable judges.
Last photo of the day.
I request all honorable judges to kindly take the chair, and we'll stand behind them. Yeah.
Our coordinator for the event and our treasurer, Vikrant Yadav sir, is also a first generation lawyer.
Thank you. मिनेश टोपी पहना रहा है हमारे प्रेसिडेंट. I request all participants to kindly join us for dinner at 8 p.m. and it is sponsored by senior advocate, hosted by Mr. Sajan Pavaya, senior advocate.
JW Marriott. Venue is JW Marriott. Second lawn. I am extremely thankful to all of you for joining us. Sir.